Hi! This year, our first cohort of Teachers for Tomorrow scholarship recipients attended their first semester at McDaniel College. Today, a few Teachers for Tomorrow, or T for T, students join me to share their experiences related to college preparation in their first semester on campus. I welcome Lucero Espinal, Irma Merhuta, Daniela Iacobucci Lapidus, and Ricardo Loyola. Thank you all for joining me today. So Irma, let's start here. How did you first learn about the Teachers for Tomorrow opportunity between the school system and McDaniel College?
Well, the way I learned about the T for T scholarship was through my counselor, who's also my lacrosse coach. And so shout out to Coach Bile. She told me that I'd be a great candidate for the program, and it was the first time they were starting it. So she was just like, just give it a shot, take advantage of every opportunity that you have. And so I just applied for it, and I ended up being here.
And you got it, yeah.
Scholarship. Yeah.
Anybody else, was it counselors?
I found out through the Hispanic liaison in my high school and also my counselor. And we had a meeting with all the people that were planning on applying after that. But yeah, and later when I told them I got in, the Hispanic liaison and everybody, they were really excited.
So Ricardo, was attending college part of your plan while you were in high school?
It was a plan. It wasn't I didn't think it was possible. I was thinking of either going to HEC or just taking a year off to save up money because my parents financially wouldn't be able to wouldn't give me the opportunity. So when I heard of the opportunity, I was like, go for it, and that's what I did. You
jumped on it. How about anybody else? Was college in the plans?
My family always wanted all of us, everybody, to go to college, but we didn't have the money to go this year, so probably would have taken a gap year, just like Ricardo, and probably gone to HCC because I couldn't afford it either, and it was fantastic. So.
Good.
Right. This opportunity is a huge blessing for I think all of us, because even for me, my parents wouldn't have been able to afford McDaniel even, or HCC. I would have to go through FAFSA, and so this opportunity is just huge.
So FAFSA is a good transition to the next question. I'll come over to Lucero. Talk about the process. So you heard about the Teachers for Tomorrow opportunity, and then a whole bunch of things happened, and then you were accepted to McDaniel. Let's talk about those whole bunch of things that happened. What was the process that you went through?
Well, I guess after getting accepted, that was the biggest thing that counselors walk you through. As for the FAFSA, they just explained that you had to fill out the FAFSA form, and then pretty much from there was you had to do a whole lot of online searching. It was mostly on you kind of thing. If you had to look for scholarships, you had to look through that on your own. Guidance counselors were amazing and providing the forms and everything, but it was a little bit intense because you actually had to take into consideration how much everything cost. The books, if you needed insurance, your residence, if you're going to be living on campus, transportation, it ended up being more.
So this was before you had received the scholarship, right? So what kind of scholarships were you looking at? Were they all academic-based scholarships? What kind of things were you researching?
Well, for me personally, because I knew, because I'm Hispanic, there was a lot of opportunities out there with the Hispanic Scholarship Fund, and then a couple of other organizations, and it kind of depended on what area you were looking at. There were some in-state that you could look at, but also if you, for example, if you were into engineering or anything STEM, there were a lot of scholarships out there more than if you were going towards political science or history. So it kind of depended on what you were studying as well.
So how do you even begin to search for those? Do you just hit up the Google machine, or do you talk to your counselor? What did you do to find some of those?
I don't know. My family always mentioned that going to college was a big thing for us. So I knew from the beginning scholarships were something I had to look into. So just over time, they had books, and I would just look up on through those. Like you mentioned, going through Google. My guidance counselor was really big on going to if he didn't have that answer, he told me someone else who knew more than him.
Okay.
And then they would just walk me through the process.
Okay, so what else? So Lucero talked about searching for scholarships prior to receiving the T for T scholarship. But okay, so you received the T for T. What's the process now? The FAFSA process. Can someone talk to me about what the FAFSA process was? Do you remember it? Did you You filled it out online?
Yeah. Yeah.
How about the interview process? Yeah, Ricardo.
So the interview process was a little like, I don't know how to say, difficult
Yeah.
because I remember when I first heard about it, I didn't even know what questions they were going to ask or anything like that. But lucky for me, I was a student aide for the counselors. So there was a time and periods where they would ask me questions and stuff like that, just like helping me prepare to like answer any questions that came up.
So what kind of questions came up?
Like questions like why I wanted to be part of this program, or what did I plan on doing with this program? What made me different from every other person to be in this program?
Mm-hmm.
It was just like questions like that, and it just helped prepare me.
Had prior to that, had you ever been in a situation where you had been interviewed in that kind of environment?
No.
No?
No.
Did you think you were prepared for it prior to that, or?
I did not feel prepared at
Yeah.
all.
Okay. So, so Danielle, who are some of the people that helped through this process? That's not an easy process. I couldn't tell you what steps 1 through 10 are in order to get, into McDaniel.
I mean, well, it started with the Hispanic liaison, who's the person who told me about it at all. And then there was like a meeting with all the people that could have applied by like my principal, and like I talked to him about it. And then when we visited McDaniel, we like also like, it was kind of like they were the people, but also they showed us the college and they showed us where to apply. And then they had the meeting with all the people that were going to apply and like people from the staff. And they told us where to apply and where to do everything. And as time went by, more people were added to the list, people to talk to, and like people that were also in the interview, like the people that interviewed us were also like involved in the progress. So it was it wasn't like 2 people or anything, it was just like getting information from different events that we were invited to for their scholarship. So that's how the process went for me, at least.
Anybody else? Anyone else supports?
My family.
Your family?
Definitely my both my parents and my brother, especially my brother, because he is only 2 years older than me, so he's been through the same process that I was going through just about a year ago.
Oh, okay.
And so he helped me with like the interviews and like my resume, stuff like that.
Your family had done this? So, right, they'd gone through this process? with
Yeah,
your
like my brother, yeah.
So, were your families prepared for the process? Like, were they prepared to support you through the process? Was there anything that maybe your families could have received, either from guidance counselors or the school system or the college, that would help parents down the road prepare their students for the transition into college?
I mean, it's a little bit different for everyone. For my older sister, she ended up going to HCC, and because she also worked during high school, she saved up money, so my mom was not involved. But she was involved with her in school, so she knew the counselors. But for me, it was a little bit more different because my mom wasn't as involved with me in school, so I was meeting up with the counselors, I was making sure like the dates, and I just went to her and she just signed the forms. So when it came up to like I had to choose a college and T4T and preparing for the interview, I didn't know what I was doing. And then when I tried going towards my mom, she was a little bit taken back because it was just so much information for her, like looking at a 4-year college in comparison to a community college. So I think something that would have been nice would just be, I don't know, like most families, like they're first generation, so maybe just kind of explaining what college is, because I didn't even know what was the difference between a college and a university, and trying to explain that to my mom, and she never went to school, so it was a little bit harder on her for that, like the whole concept of what going away and like living away from home and being a little bit more independent meant.
So maybe having more informational resources out there available,
Yeah.
and maybe even things like this, right? Having people like you that have gone through the process come back and share your stories.
Yeah, my mom had a similar, like, I mean, she did go to college, but she went to college in the United States, but we're not from the United States. I moved here like 3 years ago. So she wasn't completely sure about the progress regarding like the FAFSA and all those different places to like where we had to apply specifically, where we had to put in paperwork and everything. So eventually we figured it out, but I think the best thing would be like have a clear thing specifically what we should have done, because she at the beginning she found it so abstract and confusing because she never done it before, and the progress in Venezuela, which is where I come from, is different. So yeah.
Maybe like a step-by-step
Kind
guide.
of thing, yeah.
Right.
Because it's like you need to apply to FAFSA and this and that, but it's like what exactly should I do?
And when?
Yeah, exactly. Because that was a little bit confusing in the beginning. We figured it out in the end, but it was, yeah.
Yeah, you did, because you're at McDaniel now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Irma.
Yes.
Let's talk about your first semester.
Yes.
So all 4 of my guests, they just ended their first semester at McDaniel College. So how did it go? The first semester can be a tough one.
Yes, of course. It was definitely strenuous, and like it was very daunting to be away from home and be away from like all your friends that you've like made over your 4 years of high school,
Yeah.
and like even some of your childhood friends. You have to leave them and go in this new environment, and you know, like make new friends, adjust to living in a dorm and sharing a bathroom with about like 40 people that live on your floor. It's a little scary, but all of us survived, and I think it's definitely an experience that a lot of college students should be taking.
Okay, let's dig in a little bit. You just threw a lot out there.
Sorry.
Now, you told me about, prior to the cameras rolling, about the whole bathroom situation. Did it work out? I mean, 40 people sharing a bathroom.
Yeah,
That's a
it
concern.
wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So, yeah.
Do you have to like take numbers for times in the morning to get ready? No?
Luckily, everyone's classes are at different times.
Okay.
So some people might be having a class at noon, whereas some people would be having an 8 a.m. So sometimes there's nobody in the bathroom, you're just by yourself. So it's actually not as bad as I thought.
So I don't want anyone throwing anyone under the bus, but you all had roommates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you know your roommate prior to, other than maybe a little bit of interaction you had prior, but you didn't know them, right?
No.
No.
Yeah.
So
no, we didn't
how
know
was
that.
it, Ricardo, what was it like living
Okay.
with somebody that you had just met?
So my roommate and I get on really, really well.
Oh,
like
good.
we're really good friends right now. And prior to that, we didn't know each other really well. I remember following him on Instagram, and he DM'd me and saying he's not really weird because he had a really funny profile. And he told me that he's not like that in real life, even though he's a little weird. But he's really cool. We get along well. Like we established like rules and stuff like that. Like
Oh, okay.
like we had like unspoken rules, like we know not to take each other's clothes or obviously take something without permission.
Sure.
But we check in with each other and stuff like that. Like, and we also bond a lot. Like we go out together and stuff like that. Like I remember one time I never seen him go out the dorm, and I was like, hey, do you want to go get breakfast? And he's like, all right. And then we just started talking. We got along really well, and it's super cool.
So you reached out, you tried to make that connection
Yeah.
with them, and it paid off in a big way.
Yeah.
So who else? You've all got roommates.
Yeah.
Tell me a story.
At the beginning, my roommate and I got along really well, and near the end of the semester, that went downhill really fast.
Oh, okay.
But like in the end, like I was talking to other people to help me out what to do, and a lot of people told me that in a lot of cases, well, you don't know your new roommate before. A lot of cases, people change roommate and all that stuff. It got to a point where I had to change roommates. Now I live in a different building, and I live with another person from T4T, with Dorothy. I'm rooming with Dorothy now, and everything's fine now. So like, and now there's like no issues at all. So I just, for people that think that it's gonna be perfect for the start, it's not always that way. So like, you just gotta get through it, and if you need to move, you need to move. It's just, you gotta focus on your studies.
And you
know?
got through it. And
yeah.
McDaniel was accommodating to that process?
Yeah, it was, everything happened really fast. Everything was perfectly fine. And now I settled in like a week, so.
Oh, good, good. Lucero, what's something that happened in the first semester that just you weren't expecting? This was different. Nobody had told you, hey, pay attention to this. What's something that you can share that was just maybe something good, something great about college life?
I guess like one of the things that I didn't really consider looking into colleges was just like, you're not only moving into a college, but you're also moving into like that new city or like state that you're going into. And so for me, I've always lived in Howard County with like some exceptions to like Prince George before I moved here. And just moving to the Carroll County and Westminster area, I was just kind of taken back because there wasn't like the really big malls or anything like that. It was a little bit out of the way. Like the campus is beautiful. Like I love like going there in the morning and taking walks, but just like that city life, it isn't there. So it was just like taking back, getting used to that. It's a little bit more quieter than you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just kind of like doing a little bit of research before moving into a college, just like knowing the area around it. Because you're not always studying, you're going to be going out of the campus, so.
Wait, what? No, you're always studying.
Yeah.
Okay, Ricardo, yeah.
Lucky for me, since I run cross country, we run around all over town and stuff. And so I just like would run around town and just look at things as I run by, and I'd be like, oh, this looks like a cool place. And after like my run or something, I'll hang out with some friends in that place. And that's how basically I started to discover more of a town. And it was pretty nice.
That's good. Did you guys run with Ricardo?
No.
He was running double-digit miles a day. He was telling me.
Oh,
That's right.
no.
No. Something that maybe was something you'd like to share with with prospective college students moving forward that maybe was different that you didn't expect. How about something you did expect? Something that.
Oh, the food.
Okay.
The food. The
Yeah,
food
tell me
was
about the
not good. But I'm not gonna call McDaniel out like
Well,
that.
compared to
like
home
a
cooking.
home, yeah, it was
it's different.
it was definitely different. But the breadsticks and the cookies are really good.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the So let's talk about the dining experience because that's a big college experience. So you're eating 3 meals a day. Can you go whenever you want? What if you want a midnight snack while you're studying? Are there options?
There's a pub.
There's a pub.
And
There's a
Bocelli's.
pub.
Bocelli's pizza. Yeah.
All right. Any other dining hall experiences?
You gotta be careful how much you eat. Like
Oh.
when I first showed up, I was like, I thought it was heaven. I was eating a lot.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like a month later, it caught up to me, and I realized I'm like, ooh, I'm eating a little too much.
Your cross country coach had to
Had to tell me like, hey, stop eating so much. It was starting to show, and I was like, oops.
The food must have been okay.
I mean, I like to eat, so.
You'll eat anything. He'll eat anything. That's what he's saying.
I enjoyed the food, and it did cut up to me too. So yeah, and then I also like stayed up until really late. So I would go to the pub and to other places that there's like one place in the campus that stays open. I think on Fridays until like 1 a.m. or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I would sometimes go there at like 12:30 and just eat there because most of the classes were late. So my sleep schedule completely changed. Yeah, that was something kind of expected, but at the same time unexpected. My sleep schedule completely changed.
Oh, okay.
And I had like, I think a 9:45 became early for me. When high school, it was like 7:20.
Mm-hmm.
And a 9:45 would have been heaven in high school.
So that's interesting. When you were in high school, you had probably someone at home that if you overslept, they're shaking you, wake you up, or sort of, making you meals. But now you're on your own. So
Yeah.
how did that transition work? Did it take some time to sort of figure out your processes without having someone there to shake you and get you
Yeah.
going?
Yeah,
Yeah?
definitely. We had to set many alarms, and luckily, me and my roommate, we had the same like morning class.
Mhm.
And well, it wasn't even morning; it was 10:20. That's barely morning. But both of us luckily woke up at the same time. So if one of us did oversleep, we could just be like, "Hey, wake up, gotta go."
Mhm.
So that was nice.
And preparing, so getting to class. How about preparing for tests? You don't have Canvas there, right? So
Right.
so maybe parents aren't getting those notifications.
Yeah.
So it's your responsibility. Were there digital tools you were using to help keep you organized and scheduled?
The teaching format felt similar to how teaching was for me in Venezuela before I moved to the United States.
How's that?
And like, I don't know, like I guess how much work it was sent and all that. Like it was kind of like going back to that because like when I got to the United States, I was like in honors, but also had a lot of extracurricular activities, so that kind of balanced out. But in college, I'm in like 2 clubs, but like I don't know, like the way that classes are managed is more similar to how it was back then. So that's why I think I didn't find it as hard as I thought it was going to be. It is hard though. Like it is more difficult than how it was in Venezuela,
Yeah.
but it's more similar to how it was in Venezuela and how it was high school for me here.
That's interesting.
Personally, the way I found it. So the transition to the classes was not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. So I balanced it pretty well.
You talked about 2 clubs, and I know Ricardo ran cross country, but what were the clubs? What kind of extracurriculars were you all involved in?
There's a Hispanic organization,
Mhm.
and they do like dinners and etc. And I'm involved, and there's also, and Lucero is also involved with me, and there's I'm blanking out on the name right now, but another organization that we teach English to people that don't know it that well,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like
Why did you get involved with these clubs?
they had like a fair at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just walked around and got like information and all that, and like wrote my email for them to email me about the situation, the events and all that. So I have the app on my phone and I get the emails of the meetings and all that.
Are you glad you participated with those? Did it
Yeah,
help?
yeah,
Did it help transition into college where
Yeah,
you
of
maybe didn't know
course.
people? Did you meet friends
Yeah, I
in-
did a lot of friends through the clubs.
in these
was-
clubs? And Ricardo, so you started the year early, right, with cross
yeah,
country?
started a week early before.
So did that help your transition? What was
It
it like being on
helped
the cross country
because
team?
I saw the campus before anybody was on it, so I saw how it looked empty. So I got to like memorize places, and it was kind of an advantage because like when more people came, I knew where to go, and I would help them like get there.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people would be like, "Where's Decker?" And I'm like, "Oh, Decker's right there."
And did you meet any friends through cross country? Did that help?
Yeah, I met a couple other. There was a big freshman boys team,
Uh-huh.
so we got along really well.
Good.
We're really good friends. So we hang out a lot.
Good. Any clubs? Anything you're participating in?
Well, at the beginning of the semester, I actually went to ballroom dancing club.
Great. That's so
Yeah, my first year seminar peer mentor, he is one of like the people that organizes it,
Mhm.
and so he was like, "Oh, you guys should come by." And so me and a couple of my friends went to that, and then towards the end of the semester, I joined InterVarsity, which is a Christian fellowship.
cool.
So I'm looking forward to that next semester, and I want to get into maybe like intramural volleyball. So
Cool.
definitely want to be an athlete again.
So you were involved with quite a bit. Did that help with the transition into college? Did you meet anybody?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important to get out of your comfort zone a little bit because
Okay.
definitely like ballroom dancing is not my thing, but it's definitely like important to like put yourself out there so that you can meet new people and like
Yeah.
make new friends. So I think that's really important in like a small school as well because like you know everyone that's there. So
So Lucero, one of the things that a lot of students are nervous about are the academics. Am I really prepared for college level courses? Did you feel that you were prepared?
I mean, I have a different work ethic from everyone else, so I was always like, because my mom, she couldn't really understand English, I tried being on top of everything. So then that just kind of transitioned into college, just making sure I have like the due dates right, checking my syllabus, meeting with my professors, and I kind of had like a handle of things, but like you mentioned, college is way different from high school. So it's just like the amount of workload that you have, instead of having a class every day, it's double or triple the times because sometimes you only meet that class once or twice or 3 times a week.
Right.
So you have to put more of an effort to just kind of go out of your way and actually open the textbook and read through it. Because sometimes if a professor's amazing, I've had some of them where she'll go over the material and she's actually like really open and she'll be asking questions. But other times there'll be professors who just go there, write some things on the board, and it's mostly on you to be in contact with them.
Mm-hmm. So Irma, academically, how is college a lot different than high school?
I would say it's different in the sense that everything's on you.
Oh,
You
okay.
have to manage your own time.
Yep.
You have to make sure that you're meeting your deadlines. But in the same way, luckily McDaniel is a small school, and so we have small classes, and it's very interactive. So that's nice. Like your professor knows your name, so that's definitely an advantage.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a lot of universities where you're a number
Right.
in
Yeah.
a seminar, right?
Mm-hmm.
How about you guys? Academically,
Academically, I felt a lot better than in high school because in high school I just felt like I had too much work and little time. But here, maybe I have like 2 papers due, but I have more time to write it and work on it.
okay.
Because compared to high school, like you're already 7 hours in school, and then I was in cross country, so then that's another 2 to 3 hours. And that only left me with so much time with so little sleep, and I just felt like stressed out doing all my work and stuff like that. But now in college, like I can wake up and do like a little bit in the morning, then go to class and do a little bit after class, and I just have so much time to work at my likings. So it's a lot. I feel a lot easier and actually feel excited to do work.
But it sounds like you're well organized too.
I am pretty organized.
And I'm sure there's students at McDaniel that aren't as organized as they should be. And if you wait till last minute, you're going to struggle, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say that, yeah, it is a thing. It goes on a lot on you. You have to be organized and knowing when your classes are and when can you do certain papers or certain things. And in that sense, as I was saying earlier, it's similar how it was in Venezuela. You only have the classes not every day, but like Monday and Wednesday, Tuesday and Friday, and then all the teachers present everything differently, and the teachers give you the syllabus at the beginning of the semester, and you have to know the deadlines since that moment on. So all that was pretty much the same as it was in Venezuela. Like it was basically going back to that sort of organization. So that's why I found it kind of easy, because it was going back to what I was used to. But I also had to get used to having those gaps in between and being able to organize my time to do things during those gaps, but also take breaks and all that.
Daniela, is there a course or a professor that you really enjoyed in the first semester?
Most of my teachers were pretty nice. I
Yeah.
mean, one of the professors where I had a closer relationship was my art professor,
Okay.
because I mean I worked a lot on my assignments, and I would like stay there after the class. And she also like offered me that there were like extra meetings with other people with like figure drawings, and somebody would post and you would draw them, and she also like wrote me recommendation letters for a organization that lead that I'm going earlier to college for. And it was just that extra time to dedicate in my work and communicating with her all the time what strength that relationship with her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and it makes it easier the fact that, as I said before, that the classes are smaller, so it's easier to make a contact with certain professors, or like all professors know your name, but it's easier to make that kind of relationship.
Right, more than
Later.
just the name.
Yeah, like
Having
she
a connection
knew
with them.
she knew why when I had to miss class, she knew why, like if I
Mhm.
was sick or whatever, and she was like, I hope you get better, etc. When you come back, catch up, etc. You know, that kind of
Mhm.
person to person, not number to professor.
Yeah, that's good. That's important.
Yeah.
Was there anyone else that had a course or a professor in your first semester that you were just really psyched out about?
Yeah, I did. Professor Dobson was my English professor, and she's a great person. Like in general, she's just like great. She helped me actually decide my English major, and originally I had intended to major in political science, but I just didn't connect with the class as much as I thought I would, and I ended up connecting with English and Professor Dobson, and she's actually my advisor now, and she's just great. Like honestly, like 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, she's great.
Good. Okay, so here's what I'd like to know. Because as part of the Teachers for Tomorrow program, all of you will have your teaching certificate at the end of your time at McDaniel, and you're going to come back to Howard County Schools and teach. So I want to know what you want to teach, if you know.
Oh, like for
Lucero?
me, I've always loved like my culture, like being Hispanic is like a big part of my identity. So like going with languages, so like I want to be a Spanish and French teacher. I just love the idea so much, and I don't know, just like being able to share someone like that you're passionate about, and then like the people of McDaniel have been like amazing with helping me like find the courses and like fill out like my 4-year plan to like get to that point where it's just like I'm qualified enough to go back to Howard County and share with everyone what I've learned. I don't know, it's just like something that gets me so excited.
Good. And you're like a dual threat, right? I mean, Spanish and French, and I mean, by the time you're done, McDaniel will probably be German and sign language and everything. You'll just
I
you'll
hope
be the
so.
only world language teacher at the school, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think in high school, middle school, elementary school? Have you even thought that far?
Because of like how McDaniel works, I'm qualified to teach from K through 12.
Uh-huh.
But for me personally, I would really like to teach middle school or high school because, I don't know, like when everyone thinks about teaching, they always think like you're going to be an elementary teacher. And as much as I love little kids, like, I don't know, there's just something about middle school and high school where kids are still finding out things about themselves. They're still like experimenting, like, do I really like doing sports? Do I like doing clubs? Am I really good at this one subject? And I don't know, like sometimes like some people tend to forget, like, you know, we're still like experimenting, we're still trying to figure things out. And I don't know, it would just mean so much to me if I can just like be there and just help them find that. And I don't know, just that part of me, like, I just get so excited every time I think that we're going to come back.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Very good. Irma, what do you want to teach?
I'm going to be teaching English. And I agree with Lucero. Like, I'm really excited. And I didn't originally intend to be a teacher. But by getting this opportunity, I really see and like believe in myself that I'll be able to inspire students. And I really look forward to that.
Was there something else you may want to pursue as well as teaching? Are there any other interests? Like, what did you think you wanted to be?
Well, I mean, I was interested in engineering, like my junior year in high school. And then I also really like psychology. So, I mean, the psychology and English kind of ties in.
Okay.
Sort of, kind of.
So you want to teach English?
Yes.
So now, correct me if I'm wrong, you can major in anything you want, right? So you're majoring in in English.
Yes.
And what are you majoring in?
So it would just be world languages.
World languages? Okay. And Daniela, what are you majoring in? What do you wish to teach when you come back?
Well, with the issue with the scholarship, you can major whatever you want as long
Uh-huh.
as you fill in the requirements for the scholarship. So I am majoring in computer science,
Yeah.
and for now, I'm minoring in art. Depends on if I have enough space, I might major in it too. But what I would like to teach is computer science because it's something that's really new, and like I took one class during high school, and like it helped me out in my first computer science class in college a little bit because it was similar kind of code. I mean, it was not as advanced as the first class in college, but it helped me out. And it's I just find it interesting the way how mostly in the United States the way that computer science gets together with education, because it doesn't, like when I got here I had to get used to all the programs like Canvas and all those other programs. So I would like to teach it, and if I don't get to teach it, I would like to help develop those programs that are for education and make them better, because I know they change them every like 5 years or something. So if I don't get to teach, I would like at least help Howard County in that progress of improving it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so. What kind of art? What kind of art do you do?
I like, regarding your art, I do like watercolors and acrylics, but I know a lot of digital art and motion graphics and all that. I'm very
Really cool
interested.
tie in there.
Yeah, so that's another thing why I'm connected with computer science, because I'm very interested in motion graphics, graphic design, all that kind of thing. So like, of course, I get to do computer science, but I also get to learn some about art and try to tie it together.
That's
And
so
I'm
cool.
just, opening my mind to many possibilities.
Good for you. Good. Ricardo,
Yes.
what do you want to teach?
Well, with my-
Kindergartners?
No, I want to teach high schoolers. Since my major is sociology, this is sociology and education combo. I can teach sociology, psychology, and history. So I'd like to teach psychology, but I mean, teaching like maybe a government class wouldn't be too bad. I'm excited about that. I'm also looking. Hopefully, I'll go back to my high school to teach, and I would love to be part of the cross-country program, coaching.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What was your high school?
Reservoir High School.
All right. So, Mr. Saunderson, you hear that? Ricardo wants to come back in 3 years.
I'm waiting for Rogers to give me that approval.
Okay, so I have 2 more questions. And the first one, let's go down the line. And we'll start here, and then we'll go back the other way, coming back. So what are you looking forward to moving forward in college? And even as part of the Teachers for Tomorrow program, you'll be around during the summer, right? You have some internship opportunities. So what's something that maybe you're looking forward to as you progress through your next 3.5 years of college?
As for, I don't know, just like kind of learning more, that there's always that stigma about like teachers that they just teach one subject, but looking back at the curriculum, they expand it so you're learning some things about psychology, oh my gosh, I'm trying to blank. But just kind of like the learning process of how to become a teacher. So you've spent 12 years in Howard County or in different school systems, you get to see different types of learning styles. And now when you're in college and we're kind of learning how to become a teacher, it's kind of interesting to just kind of see that in practice and just kind of visualizing what kind of teacher you want to be, how you want to incorporate everything. I don't, just the learning aspect is
So you look
exciting.
forward to continuing that path
Yeah.
and expanding it. Irma.
Well, for next semester, I'm really excited because we're starting our major and our minor courses, and I'm really looking forward to like having class with all these guys and
awesome.
really like dig into my field of study. And in the future, I look forward to just inspiring more students to like keep learning and show them how education is like the path to success.
And maybe tap or ballet, like what's next for dance-wise, right?
Yeah.
More ballroom dancing?
Yeah.
Okay. Danielle, what are you looking forward to moving
I
forward?
mean, right now, like, I know there will be eventually, we'll have to work in Howard County Public Schools and everything, but I'm trying to think what's going on, like, right now, and right now I'm looking forwards, obviously, next semester having classes with all of them. I already had some classes regarding my major, so, I mean, I'm looking forward to the new ones that already started. And I'm also looking forward to having a temporary job in Howard County during the summer, which is one of the things that is connected to this.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for that. So right now I'm just looking forward to these kind of things, what's going to happen this year and what will happen for like the internship, like when we have it in January.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited, looking forward to that. After that passes, I'll look for what will happen later.
And we're excited to have you back over the summer. All of you. And Ricardo, what are you looking for?
Also looking forward to more work experience because I mean, I want to have more experience before I like actually start teaching. I don't want to drop in just cold. I'm also looking forward to learning more about my major and just learning more, I guess.
So, and we'll stay here with Ricardo. One piece of advice for students that are still in high school and think college might be an option for me. And maybe their families can't afford it, or maybe they're not sure if they want to go to college or they want to go straight into a career or into apprenticeship or trade school or the military. But you're in college. So those that may wish to go to college, what's one piece of advice that you would have for them about the process or about the experience?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Like personally for me, my parents never went to college, so they didn't know a thing to do, but they told me ask people at my school, and I relied heavily on my counselors. Like I would always ask them a question, I'll email them, I'll be like, hey, I don't know what to do, and they helped guide me to where I am now. And so I'm just don't be afraid to ask for help.
That's a great answer. Daniela?
Don't stress out. Don't do that.
It's hard,
That's
right?
That, yes. Because like I always had in my mind, like, I'll go to college, do this major, and this is my entire life. And it's not like that. I mean, it is a commitment for years and ever eventually. But let's have my mom, for example, she started with a bio major, and now she's an English-French teacher. So like, I mean, it is a commitment for a certain amount of time, but like eventually like years later, you want to change, you can change. And it's also like if you don't know what major to pick yet, you will have time later.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my major plan for a long time, but I know a lot of people didn't, and they were stressed out about it. And a lot of people in my college in my year, they haven't decided yet. So it's just apply to a lot of scholarships, because that's important. And don't stress out so much. Just go through their progress step by step, and you'll be fine. Just look at deadlines, though. That's very important. So
Yeah. Oh, yes, they are.
Don't stress, but also don't fall behind.
So don't freak out and keep your mind open.
Yeah, basically.
Right? Good. Irma, some advice.
I would say to keep all your options open. Stay open-minded about all the possibilities. Like you said, there's 2-year colleges, there's 4-year colleges, trade schools, and all of those are acceptable. Like there's no wrong way of approaching this. And I would just say like take advantage of all your opportunities.
That's good. That's great advice. Lucero?
Don't lose sight of your dream. Like a lot of people think that they have to go to an Ivy League school, they have to go to college, and sometimes that might not be it for you. Some people decide to take a year off before going to college, or even try going to a trade, like being involved with a trade, like working before going to college, or sometimes college isn't your option. But if you have a dream of like you want to do something, like you want to be an engineer, you want to work in political science, be a lawyer, go to Congress, go for it. Just like everyone mentioned, keep your mind open, because by keeping your mind open, you'll figure out a way how to get to that dream eventually. And sometimes it'll open more obstacles, and in the end, like if like Ricardo or like Daniela mentioned, that if you decide that it's not what you want, at least you kept your options open and there's another way to get there.
Yeah. You all are amazing. Congratulations on completing your first semester of college. Thanks for sharing your experiences with everybody today. And good luck on the second semester. And we can't wait to see you over the summer and then coming back to teach in Howard County Schools. Thanks again to Lucero, Irma, Daniela, and Ricardo for joining me and sharing their experiences. To learn more about the Teachers for Tomorrow opportunity, please visit our website at www.hcpss.org. On behalf of my guests and the production crew, I'm Brian Bassett. Thanks for watching.